Welcome, listener, to the Legal Paige Podcast. Today, I'll be discussing a topic I'm sure is on your mind, especially if you're a new business owner. Maybe someone told you you need a contract, but you don't know how it will actually impact your business, or really if you even need one. And then you're left wondering if you can utilize that contract for all purposes and all services you render, or if you need another contract for the varying services you provide. I'm going to walk you today through how contracts are going to change your business. And then I'm going to touch on whether you can use a template contract for all your needs. For instance, say you bought one of our template contracts at thelegalpaige.com and you're wondering if you can repurpose the contract for many services that your business provides. For example, you're a portrait photographer and you also shoot seniors and families and engagements and headshots and commercial real estate and boudoir photography. Can you use the same contract for all of those purposes? I'm going to give you the answer in this episode. You're listening to the Legal Paige Podcast, where we chat about life and business with a legal twist. I'm Paige, attorney and photographer helping online businesses and creatives tackle their business dreams without breaking out in hives. No more legal mumbo jumbo. This podcast features simple, bite-sized advice that'll have you legally legit in no time. Are you ready? Let's get started. As a reminder, before we get into this episode, I am legally obligated to give my disclaimer. I am an attorney, but I am not your attorney. All legal information I talk about in this episode is intended for the masses and a large variety of different businesses. Please seek out another attorney in your city and home state if you need specific legal advice related to your unique business. Okay, let's get back to it. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in today to the podcast. This episode is specifically for those who are really starting out and thinking about buying or have bought one of our contract templates. Now, just for a brief background, the Legal Paige creates and sells contract templates for small businesses at our contract shop online called thelegalpaige.com. Our primary focus is to help small business owners get legally legit without breaking into hives. So in order to do that, we have template contracts. That's kind of an easy button for you to press that you can utilize in your business for a fraction of the price of having to hire an attorney for, say, $700 an hour plus to draft one up for you. And maybe they even don't understand the type of business that you run, social media marketing, their eyebrows are going to raise in confusion. It's just all a lot to have some attorney down the street try to draft something for you. So you want to try to find an expert, and that's what we hope to be for you. So many of the industries that we serve include online coaches, influencers, travel advisors, photographers, videographers, DJs, planners, Etsy sellers, organizers, hairstylists, makeup artists, copywriters, online business managers, independent contractors, social media managers, content creators, and many more. Like the laundry list continues because we love to continue to make contract templates for a variety of different small business owners. I want to start here in this episode with why contracts can really change your business, because this fundamental concept is important to understand when you're purchasing a contract template. So when you're first starting your business, you're probably going to be overwhelmed with the next steps, and that's totally reasonable. You're wondering if a website is more important, or a social media following is important, or if word of mouth is more important, or do you spend marketing dollars on XYZ? But one of the first things we tell people starting out is to get your contracts in order right away. All of those shiny things may seem like that's what you should be doing and should be focusing on, but unless you already have your client contract in place, your main service agreement, MSA, then you're not even ready to take the next step into those shiny things like building out the right website, because you have to be prepared for once an inquiring client or customer comes to you, are you ready to book them officially? And I know that contracts may seem somewhat unnecessary at, first glance, right? you have the best of intentions. You think your client has the best of intentions. Everybody's good people. We all think everybody's good people. Like nothing's going to happen. And you likely think because of that, honestly, a contract is just an extra expense that I don't need right from the beginning. That is completely false. This is especially true if your business is a side gig and you're anticipating like just doing this for friends. Many people think that they don't need a contract in those situations, but I can tell you from experience, your friends and families are potentially the ones you're going to come in conflict with the most. So I'm here to tell you, having a contract for your business can prevent stress, money problems, lawsuits, legal debacles, extreme confrontations, you name it. Having that contract in place can be the difference between your business thriving or failing. And I want to say that again, because you don't go into business with the intention of failing. So why would you put yourself in that position without a proper contract in place for your clients to sign? You want to try to thrive from the beginning. So here are some reasons why you should have that contract in place to change your business from square one. First, your clients will actually thank you for having a contract in place. It gives them a clear understanding of what they get out of the booking, and it helps answer some questions that they may have regarding your services or the what-if scenarios that could occur. You want to clearly explain those within your contract clauses. Also, your clients expect you to have a contract. So having a contract takes the guesswork out of expectations from your clients. For example, say you're heading into an Apple store to buy the new iPhone and you're paying $1,200 or $1,500 for the new iPhone. When you're paying that amount, you would expect to sign a contract from Apple regarding, okay, I'm giving you this money, you're giving me this phone, what are the warranties, what are, all of the things that I should expect regarding the what-if scenarios that could occur if there's a malfunction or an error, or if there's any hazards with the phone, if it gets lost or stolen, or like, am I buying additional insurance? Like you expect to sign a contract and your clients expect that from you too, especially when it's for even more than $100. The contract also protects you financially and legally. That's a no-brainer here. Let's say you do work for a client throughout a contracted period, and then halfway through, your client terminates the contract and they demand that you give them all the money back that they paid you, even though you've already performed services and conducted work. In this scenario, having a contract in place that states you will be compensated for all work you have done, that your retainer is non-refundable and non-transferable, that is crucial because it will save you thousands of dollars and valuable time and alleviate stress and alleviate confusion. They signed on to your business policies surrounding cancellations under those type of situations. Ready to build a legally legit business? Become a Legal Paige Insider and get exclusive access to all the top-notch resources TLP has to offer. As a TLP Insider, you'll get insider access to all of our sales and promotions, also known as better deals than anyone else. First dibs on freebies and legal classes that will help you legitimize your business and step into your role as Chief Legal Officer. Jam-packed weekly newsletters so you're always up to date, and our unique perspective regarding the most pressing legal issues facing biz owners today. So to become an insider, just head to thelegalpaige.com/TLP Insider. Again, that's thelegalpaige.com/TLP Insider, all lowercase. And now let's get back to the episode. Another reason why you should have a contract in place is contracts can dictate how and where a dispute can be heard. That's really important. Arbitration and mediation is a good thing to be contractually obligated to because it's usually a cheaper way to dispute issues than to just go to court. And having those type of clauses will save you from bleeding money in litigation in small claims court or just actual state court. Also, you can contract that all issues have to be resolved in your state, in your county, where you live. And this creates convenience for you if a dispute were to occur. Say if you're a destination photographer and you're just traveling out of state, you would want to have your venue where the dispute should occur. You want all of the parties to agree to the venue being in your home state. So you don't have to continually travel back and forth to say where the actual services were performed in another state since you're a destination photographer. Contracts also prevent stress. Plain and simple, you will sleep better knowing that you're protected if you get in that one bad situation or client or all of the what ifs. We are constantly in just regular life thinking about the what ifs, right? That's why we get insurance, car insurance, homeowners insurance, life insurance. And your contract is really the first best insurance you can get for your business. Lay that foundation properly with a contract when you're first starting out to help you just feel at ease and get the necessary sleep that you need, because you know that you have policies and procedures in place for those what ifs. And then finally, contracts help you act like a real business owner. And what do I mean by this here? The perceived value from your client's perspective about you as a service provider is higher because they can see that you take your business seriously and you are a professional when you provide them with that thorough, well-drafted contract that they know protects you, but also protects them, that is written in very, very plain language, easy to understand terms, that doesn't have a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo, and that really you perceive as high value in your business. That automatically translates to your clients being like, yes, I want to work with this person. They take their business seriously. They are a real business owner. That is why I'm going to sign this contract. I think many people think that like a long, lengthy contract is scary and it's going to like scare off your clients. And I have heard the exact opposite from TLP customers. They're booking higher end clients, their highest packages, because their contracts are so thorough and are two-sided and have roles and rights and responsibilities of all parties. Of course, your contract is your contract, so it's going to be more heavily weighted to protect you. But as long as it's two-sided and you do have some rights of your clients, say if you were to cancel as, the service provider, that they understand what would happen in that situation. Those type of things put your clients at ease. They are absolutely going to think you're more professional. They're going to have a perceived higher value on you as a business owner. So now that you know why contracts can change your business, I want to talk about whether you can use one contract template for multiple purposes, because you have to understand why you need the contract and then to understand how to utilize your contract template in the best way possible. So can you use one template contract, say if you buy it from thelegalpaige.com or you buy it from another online virtual attorney, or you've had one written by your local attorney down the street, can you use that contract for multiple purposes? So if you've purchased from us specifically at thelegalpaige.com, you probably know that we create specific templates for specific situations and businesses. So for instance, if you're a photographer, you would probably start with maybe a family and couple photography contract for booking clients. Say if you're not into weddings and you're just trying to like start out your portrait photography business. The family and couples photography contract is TLP's most basic portrait contract we have in our shop and includes those necessary, very straightforward basic clauses that you need. But especially for portrait photographers, we get the question all the time whether you can use that family and couples photography contract for other purposes. The very typical lawyer answer to this question is it depends. So in certain circumstances, like a photographer wanting to use their family photography contract as, say, a senior photography contract, you may be able to use only one contract template by making some minor tweaks and changes. But I want to be very clear here. You would have to make those changes yourself. You'd have to know the language and legal wording to write out in those clauses. You would have to make sure that you don't have any cross-reference mistakes or competing or conflicting clauses or language. And you want to make sure that you don't have any state contract laws or case law precedent that would disallow you from writing XYZ into that type of clause. Now, those reasons are probably giving you a little bit of pause, or your heart is beating a little bit faster on why it would be probably extremely challenging for someone who doesn't have a law degree and isn't an expert in contracts to try to write such additional clauses into your contract. If you're not worried about that, then I would say you could probably tweak the contract for multiple purposes. But this is literally the entire reason why TLP sells these things as two separate contract templates, because we have specific clauses in all the contracts for specific scenarios. So a family photography contract doesn't need a yearbook deadline clause like a senior photography contract does. Or say you also do boudoir photography. You need specific clauses related to that for a model release that your client is comfortable with and they voluntarily agree to such model release. The inability to use electronic devices like smartphones or such at the boudoir session. An age of majority clause. I'm just trying to give you examples here of why there are specific clauses in specific contracts for a very, very intentional purpose. Another example I want to give is people who try to use our wedding photography contract with a bunch of different wedding-specific clauses in it. And then they're saying, okay, I'm going to buy the biggest contract out there, the wedding photography contract. And then I'm going to turn it into a family photography contract or an engagement contract or an adventure elopement contract. That is not a good idea. Going from something big to like cutting out a bunch of clauses and like trying to like finagle wording, because I'm 99.9% positive that without a law degree and that expertise as a contract lawyer, you will mess something up when you start taking out clauses, tenses, verbiage, pronouns, conflicting language, you name it. It is never a good idea to start cutting out things from contracts to try to make the contract into something that it's not. I think it's easier to add in like 1 or 2 or 3 clauses. In that instance, if that's where you're at, then potentially you could use a template contract for multiple purposes. But if you are trying to craft a different contract by discarding a bunch of language in your primary contract, that's never a good idea to do on your own. Ultimately, we do not recommend using our templates for multiple scenarios like this. And honestly, here's why. A contract is a legally binding document, and as such, an attorney really should have eyes on any major changes that you make to a contract, and especially a template contract, because a template contract is supposed to be used by a multitude of different business owners in different scenarios, in different business journeys. And that being said, you can minorly tweak it, but major changes are just something you need to talk to an attorney about. Minor changes to contracts, like I said, such as like adding in your editing style or adding in a small fee for rescheduling or, changing up your coverage hours, is usually not going to alter the entire integrity of the whole of your contract. But why would you want to even risk that? Be aware of that risk that I'm telling you about that you're going to face if you do even tweak your contract a little bit, and determine if you want to ensure full protection with very specific contract clauses related to the services that you provide that have been reviewed by an attorney. They know there's no conflicting language. There's no issues with cross-references. There's no invalidating language throughout the contract. It's also written in the same format and plain language that the remainder of the contract is written in. You don't want to go in and just write into a contract like 2 different paragraphs that are going to look so starkly different from the formatting and, verbiage and, sentence structure of the rest of the contract. So we here at TLP think about every scenario we can to try and make sure that your specific contract protects you and your business and the specific services you're providing. And because of that, template contracts are specific to each client or customer or service that you are providing. And that is why we have different contract templates for every type of service that you may offer. So if you do decide to use your contract for multiple purposes, then again, I just want to reiterate, we highly recommend having an attorney review it before you use it, just to be ultra safe and cross your T's and dot your I's. We also recommend that you only reuse your contract for multiple purposes if your scenarios are all within the same genre. So for example, we don't recommend using our wedding photography contract for adventure elopements, or we don't recommend using our birth photography contract for shooting, maternity sessions. They are just 2 very, very, very different contracts and situations and services you're providing. And we want to make sure that you're protecting yourself in each specific scenario. I do want to mention 2 more things about our templates that I really believe bring value to our TLP contracts. So first and foremost, we update our contracts consistently. And every time we update them, those who have already purchased that contract get the updated version. I think of contracts as living documents. I don't want you to have a contract that we later learn XYZ clause needs to change because of case law precedent or happenings in the industry. And we give you for free, you get unlimited contract updates for the rest of TLP's lifetime. And that's really important. It was this huge value that I knew I wanted when I started the Legal Paige, and I wanted to bring to all of our customers, because you may think that contracts are a one and done situation, but I think you need to audit them and change them and consistently look at them and make sure that you're modifying clauses to, match clients' expectations and to, add in clauses and verbiage surrounding force majeure situations, for example, a big clause that we changed in 2020. So this is something we really like and enjoy doing for our customers so that you only have to buy the contract template once, but then you get lifetime updates. And then number 2, we here at TLP offer what's called a la carte contract clauses. And these are clauses that can be added into your existing contract if you feel like your contract needs it. And that way it's written from the perspective of a lawyer who knows how to write contracts and who knows how to properly wordsmith legal language to be in very understandable, plain language, layperson terms. And some of these clauses are things such as COVID clauses. We don't have those in our template contracts because we've realized that every business has different COVID policies. And so we have a la carte clauses depending on how you run your business and your morals and your ethics. And so you can choose a COVID clause. We have a couple that would best suit your business practices. You could add in something like a right to change pricing clause. You could add in, a pricing adjustment clause depending on if they book later on, that they're only guaranteed the pricing at the time of booking and that your pricing fluctuates. We have clauses related to like harassment, safe working environments, artistic style. I'm just throwing out a few different examples of a la carte clauses that people consistently purchase from the Legal Paige shop because you may already have an existing contract template, but as you've been listening to various TLP podcasts or you've been perusing our blog or you're in the TLP Facebook community or you're following me on Instagram, you start to realize, I don't have that clause in my contract. And you just want to copy and paste some really good legal language into a new clause, That's why TLP has created a la carte clauses for you. So it gives you some flexibility to really customize each of your client contracts. And that is all, my friends. I hope you learned a lot from this episode regarding why contracts can change your business and if you can use one contract for multiple purposes. The answer is it depends, but most likely it's probably going to be a no. You don't want to use one contract template for multiple purposes. The only exception to this is if it's really within the same genre. If you have an independent contractor agreement and you're using it for, various independent contractors and you're just changing out the scope of services, that would make sense. If you are, say, using a family and couples contract for, say, headshots, that would probably make sense as well. Same genre, not super challenging to tweak. If you think to yourself, well, if I was doing these services and I needed to add in this clause and there's this different scenario for those services I provide, then you probably want to get a specific contract template related to that specific service that you provide. So thanks again for sticking with me in this episode. I hope it was extremely valuable for you and that you gleaned new legal knowledge to help you be protected and shape your business the right way. I will talk to you soon, my friend. Thank you so much for listening to the Legal Paige Podcast. I am beyond grateful for you, which is why I want to give you a coffee or your favorite bevy on me. If you leave a 5-star rating and review for the Legal Paige Podcast on iTunes, screenshot the review and send it to me on Instagram at the Legal Paige. That's the Legal Paige. I will send you a Starbucks gift card from me. Just make sure to include your email in the DM. So again, send a screenshot of the review to me on Instagram at the Legal Paige, include your email address, and I will send you some Starbucks, because what better gift than caffeine for every business owner? Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Legal Paige Podcast. See, I told you being legally legit isn't so scary. Be sure to visit thelegalpaige.com for all show notes. And it would be super awesome if you could head over to iTunes and leave a review. Last but not least, don't forget to join my free Facebook group for unlimited legal and biz Q&A. Chat soon, Legal Pagers.